Lee's unsafe Glenda Lee claimed she had to pay for an expensive cab fare after her neighbor
Ms. Lee, you're suing your neighbor, Ms. Martinez, for $333.26 at a taxi cost you because she left you stranded in another city, correct?
That is correct, Your
What
Honor.
happened? How do you two know each other? Your neighbors? You're suing your neighbor,
Yes,
Ms.
we are
Martinez,
neighbors, Your
for
Honor.
$333.26 at a taxi
We know
cost
each
you
other
because
for
she
over
left
15
you
years. We've been neighbors for
stranded
over
in another
15 years.
city, correct?
No, she
That
moved
is
into the
correct.
neighborhood
What
10
happened?
years
How do
ago.
you two know each other? Your neighbors?
Roughly, you
And
started
yes, we are
disagreeing from
neighbors,
that
Your
point.
Honor.
Okay,
And
hold on, and you'll
How
have your
long
turn
have you
later
known each
talk.
other?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We
So
know
each other for
we've been
over
neighbors
15 years. We've been neighbors for over 15 years.
No, she
but
moved
she
into the
is a
neighborhood 10
very
years ago.
quiet person.
Roughly,
and
you
she
started
doesn't
disagreeing
like to
from that point. Okay,
associate
hold
with
on,
the
and you'll have your
neighborhood.
turn. Let her
When
talk.
I
Go
have
ahead.
functions in my house,
she
we've
knows
been
that.
neighbors for
I'm sorry,
over
ma'am.
15
What
years.
part of what I said before was unclear?
But she is
Go
a
ahead.
very
her husband,
quiet person.
her late husband, actually,
and
her
she
husband
doesn't
just
like
passed
to
away.
and her associate with the
functions in my
neighborhood.
house, and
when I have
she would
functions
always
in my
have an
house,
excuse
I
that her
have
I'm
husband
sorry,
would come.
ma'am. What part of what I
and
said
then
before
when
was
her
unclear?
husband passed away, I thought I would
Go
be
ahead.
a
I
good
invited her
neighbor
husband,
and then reach
her
out
late
to her
husband,
to see
actually,
if
her
there's
husband
anything
just
she
passed away.
needs.
And
And
her
then
two
one day all of a sudden
functions
she
in my
calls
house
me and
and
say, hey,
she
do
would
you want
always
to
have an
go
excuse, but her
with
husband
me
would
to my
come.
doctor's appointment
And
in
then
Chapel
when her
Hill,
husband passed away, I
thinking
thought I
that
would be
she's
a good
driving
neighbor.
all by herself.
And then
So I
reach out to her
well,
to see if
maybe I
there's
should keep
anything
her
she
company.
needs.
Plus, and then one
she
day all of a
promised
sudden
me a
she
good
calls me and say,
time.
hey, do you
And
want
that,
to
you know,
what did you say?
follow
We'll have a
me
good
to my
time.
doctor's
I mean-
appointment in
Well,
Chapel
after
Hill,
the appointment,
thinking
we're
that
gonna
she's
have some
driving all
lunch,
by herself.
and we're gonna
So I
go
thought,
shopping,
well, maybe
and
I
we're
should
gonna
keep
go
her
to
company.
movies.
Because
we
she
never
promised
hang
me a
out
good
because
time,
we barely started to
and
get
that,
to know
you
each
know,
other.
she was
Okay,
getting
we'll
so
have a
sick.
good time.
What happened
I
is,
mean-
well, after
She
the
texted me and
appointment,
said,
we're going to
"I'll pick you up
have
at
some
10,"
lunch,
but she didn't
and we're
show
going
up
to go
at-
shopping,
until
and
10:30
we're going to go
to my
to
house.
movie. Because, you know,
We
I
never
offered
hang
her
out
to use
because
my
we
app
barely
to
started to
get
get to
us
know each
there
other.
Okay,
sooner.
meaning you
What
would
happened
use the
is
app, or she would.
she
She's
texted me and
driving,
said,
so I
I'll
assume
pick you up
driving,
at
I would
10, but
use
she
the
didn't
app,
show up
she was a bad
until
driver.
10:30 to my house.
So when the app said
You know,
goes,
I offered
you know,
her
make a
to
left
use my
turn,
app
she
to
continued
get
to go
us there
straight sooner.
And then so
Meaning
we
you
got
would use
to the
the app, or she
appointment
would
even
do
later.
She's
How
driving,
late
so I
did
assume
you
you all
driving?
get
I
to
would
the
use the
appointment.
app,
About an
but
hour
she
later
was a
than
bad
her
Okay, so
driver.
did any
So when the
did
app
she
goes,
call or
you know,
anything
make
from
a
the car
left
to
turn,
let you know?
she continued to
and
go
she didn't
straight.
ask me to call.
And then so
Okay.
we got to the appointment even
they
later.
She
Later.
gets
How
there,
late
and what did they
you all
say?
get to the
They
appointment?
say
About an
It's too
hour
late,
later
so
than
we
her
have
to
to
reschedule you.
Did any
And then
did
she
she
was having
call
a
or anything from the
meltdown.
car to
She
let them know?
didn't call.
I had
and
to
she didn't
calm
ask
her
me to
down.
call.
So I
Okay.
calmed her
so,
down,
you know,
and then
they
So she
comforted
gets
her,
there, and what did they
you
say?
know, convinced
No,
her,
they
say,
say,
hey, let's
it's
make
too late,
the rest
so we
of
have
our
to
day
reschedule
still
you.
here.
And then she
you know,
was
even though
having
you
a
can't make your
meltdown,
appointment,
she
let's go
was-
have lunch.
you know,
So we
I
went
had
to
to have
calm her
lunch,
down.
and then during
So I
lunch, she
calmed
has
down,
another meltdown.
and then
And she
And what do you
comforted
mean?
her, and
Meltdown
then,
is a
you know,
conclusion.
convinced
Tell
her
me
to,
hey, let's
exactly
make-
what
she
you
was
saw
the
that
rest of our
neighbor.
day
She
still
just wanted to go
here.
home. She
You
didn't
know,
want to
even though
be
you
there
can't make your
anymore.
appointment, let's
Okay,
go
let's
have lunch.
get out of
So
here.
we went to
And
have
I-
lunch, and
I
then
just
during
got
lunch,
my
she
food.
has another
I didn't even
meltdown.
get to you
And
my
she
food.
What do you
wouldn't let
mean?
me-
But she
Meltdown
was
is a
okay for me to
conclusion.
bring
Tell
the
me
food to her
exactly
car.
what
She
you
was
saw that
frustrated.
neighbor.
She just wanted to go home.
And then
She
she
didn't
rolled
want to
down
be
all
there
her window
anymore.
because she didn't
Okay,
want-
let's
What
get
kind of
out
food
here.
were you eating?
And I'm like, I was
I
just
just
eating,
got my
you
food.
know,
I didn't even
cashew
get to eat my
chicken.
food.
Okay.
With
But she
garlic.
was okay for me to bring
and
the
then
food to her
she
car.
said it smells.
So we got
She
to her
didn't want to
car,
stay on her car,
and then she
so
rolled down
had
all her windows
because she
down.
didn't want.
What
I
kind
eat
of
my
food were
food
you eating?
quickly
So
I was
that
just
I
eating,
could get the
you
windows
know,
up because
cashew
I was
chicken
getting cold
Okay.
with garlic.
Okay.
you know,
And then
she
I
said,
asked her,
"Please
please
put." She didn't
roll
want to
up
stay
the
on her
window
car
many
so she
times
had
and
her
she
windows
refused.
down.
Even after you finished
I
eating?
eat my food
Even after
quickly
I was
so that
finished
I
eating,
could get the
then,
windows up
you know,
because
we
I was
went
getting
into an
cold.
argument,
Okay.
And
because
I asked
she
her,
would roll up the
please
window,
put,
I
roll
took
up
the
the window
opportunity at a
many
red
times,
light
and she
that,
refused.
hey,
Even after you finished
maybe I
eating?
could roll up the
Even
window.
after I was finished eating,
And I found out that my window was locked, so I
went
reached
into
over
an
to her
argument,
window and tried to.
You reached over
Because
her?
she wouldn't roll up her
I reached
window,
over to her.
I
Unlock
took
the
the
child
opportunity
lock?
at a red
That's a
light
little
that,
aggressive.
hey, you know,
But
maybe
it
I
was
could roll up
red
the window.
light, Your Honor.
And
So
I
that's
found
why
out
I
that my
thought
window was locked, so I reached over to
Yeah,
her
come to her
window
car,
and
though,
tried to.
and you reached
Yeah.
over. Right.
I
But
reached
it is
over
her
to
car. And so you reach
Yeah,
over a little aggressive.
Yes, but
There's
it
no
was
better
red
way to get to know a
light,
neighbor.
Laura.
So
that's
what
why
happened?
I thought she needed gas.
Well, you know, let me
Yes,
tell
come
you
to
about
her
the
car,
gas
though.
station in
And
Rockford.
much later, after you reaching over and trying to move the child lock, was it?
I think about 15 minutes later,
Okay, to get to know a neighbor. So what happened?
We're
she
arguing
needed
with
gas.
each other. She
We stopped by
disagreed
the
that
gas
she
station
keeps
in
How much later
accusing
after
me
you
for
reaching
making
over
her
and
late
trying
for
to
her
move the child lock was
appointment.
okay? So she's saying it's your fault because
minutes later,
okay,
what
were those 15 minutes like?
Because
arguing with each other,
my app wasn't directing her and make her late.
accusing me she didn't own up to her. She was late to begin with.
So she's saying
But
it's your
according to
fault
you, she's
because
also
you're
not paying attention to the app.
Exactly.
Because what?
We almost had 2 wrecks while she was
my
driving.
app wasn't directing her
Coming
and
up
make her
on
late, but she
Justice for
didn't
the
own up to
People.
her.
You're the
She
driver.
was
It's your
late to
car. It's
begin
your
with.
appointment, and you're the one
But
who's got to
according
get
to
there.
you,
Why
she's also not
She
paying
just
attention to
doesn't
the
stop. Her
app.
mouth
We
keeps going
almost
until
had
she
2
gets her way.
wrecks
Are
while
you
she was
suggesting that
driving.
the app made you an hour late?
On Justice for the People.
You're the driver. It's your car. It's your appointment, and you're the one who's got to get there. Why is she?
She just doesn't stop. Her mouth keeps going until she gets her way.
Closed
Are you
captioning
suggesting that
provided
the
by
app made you an hour late?
It started
You'll be
clicking
in
for
Los
me
Angeles
when
area. You wanna
I
bring
actually
your
got
case
the
to court?
borrow believe
Call
card
1-888
because I started
552
noticing that
I got
682.
stranded at the gas
We're
station.
Okay, so you go
With a
out to the
case
gas
of
station, you
Glenda
decide
Lee.
you're going to go to the
Lindsay
bathroom at the gas
Martinez.
station,
Yes,
right?
and then I came out
Hours from
and
home.
And she,
wow.
what happens that brings me
The
here to
car
court
is
today?
gone. Well, and I
You
got
are
stranded
how
at the
many
gas
hours
station.
away from Wilmington, North Carolina? You decide you're going to go to the bathroom at the gas station,
Didn't
right?
know what to,
So did you
came
call
out
her?
and
Did you
and
text
she's
her?
I called her and texted her. She ignored all of that.
And you are how many So you ended up hours taking a away taxi. from
I
Wilmington,
had no
North Carolina?
choice.
And then do you
Hours
ever
away,
talk to her
Your
after that
Honor.
to say,
And
hey,
I
what
didn't
gives?
know
What are you
what to
doing?
do.
So did you
I
call her? Did you text her?
absolutely
And what happened? What did she say?
She said, it's not my fault. You owe me an apology.
So you ended up taking a taxi.
You made me late. I had no choice.
And then do you ever
She
talk to
didn't
her
wanna
after
pay.
that to
I
say,
didn't
hey,
know
what
what
gives? What are you?
Martinez,
What happened?
did you
I was 30 minutes late. I got to
And
her
what happened?
house
What did
at
she say?
10:30. I had already
She said,
texted her
it's
that
not
I
my
would be there
fault.
at
You
10
owe
o'clock
me
in the
an
morning.
apology. You
But
made me
because-
late.
Why did you get to her house late?
And
Because
She
my
didn't wanna
husband
pay.
passed
Let me
away
hear your
and
side,
he
Ms.
left
Martinez.
me
What
with
happened
the
that day?
2 dogs.
I was
I have
30
a
minutes
poodle
late. I
and
got
a
to
German
her house
Shepherd,
at
and the
10:30. I had
German
already
Shepherd
texted
said
her
that I would be there at 10 o'clock
Okay,
in the
so
morning.
I get why you didn't call
But
the doctor.
because
Why
my-
did you get to her
Now
house
you're
late?
in the
Why
car. Because
was
my
she
husband passed
going on
away, and he left me with the
an
2
app
dogs. I
in
have
order
a
to
poodle
find the
and a
directions?
German
Glenda
Shepherd,
has
and
a
the
way about
German
things she
Shepherd
likes
got
to
out of the
fix
yard
things
that
that are
day.
not
Okay, so I get
She
why you
has
didn't
a
call the
big-
doctor yet. Now you're in the car.
appointment.
Why
And
you're
you're
the one's got to get there. Why is she
going on?
She just doesn't stop. Her mouth
an
keeps
app
going
in order
until
to
she
find the
gets her way.
directions?
Are you
Glenda
suggesting
has
that
a way about
the
things she likes to
app
fix
made
things
you
that are
an
not
hour late?
broken.
She
What it
has a
kept
Yeah, but
doing
you're the
was
driver.
taking
It's your
us,
car. It's your
off
appointment, and you're the one who's got to get there. Why
You
is
keep
she?
saying
She just
it's her
doesn't
fault
stop.
I was
Her
late to
mouth
the
keeps
appointment, but
going
you
until
are
she
an
gets her
adult
way.
with
Are
volition.
Yeah, she knows my situation. Her
Made you
husband
an hour
died a year.
late.
What it kept doing
That's
was
2 months
taking us
before my husband died, and so she was trying
You
to
keep
be
saying
helpful, thinking
it's
that
her fault I was late
I'm
to
not
the
asking why
appointment,
she
but
did
you
what she
are
did.
an
I'm asking
adult
why you
with
did what you did.
volition.
In other
Yeah,
words,
she knows my
like,
situation. Her
if
husband
an
died a
app
year.
is making you 10 minutes
That's
late
2 months before
and
my
not
husband
helping
died.
you, stop
And
listening
so
to
she
it.
was trying to be helpful,
And
thinking
certainly,
that
the app has
I'm not
led me
asking why
astray
she
by
did what
10
she did.
minutes.
I'm asking why
I'm
you
not
did
going
what
to keep
you did.
listening
In
to
other
the
words,
app over and over and getting off the road every time the app tells me to, making you 10 minutes late and not helping
So
you.
what were you
Stop
thinking,
listening
though?
to it.
Like, I understand why you might be mad
certainly
at her.
if the app has
I
led me
understand
astray
why you
by
might
10
blame her
minutes,
for missing your
I'm not going to
appointment.
keep listening
But
to the
now
app
you're gonna
over and
have to
over and
convince
getting
me
off
why
the
it was a
road
good
every
idea
time
to leave
the
her
app tells
stranded
me
in
to.
gas station 2 hours away from
So
your
what
home.
were you thinking, though? Like,
Well,
I understand why you might be
after
mad
that
at her.
whole ordeal, getting
I
to the
understand
appointment,
why you might blame her for missing your appointment.
My
But
practitioner
now
had
you're going to
already
have to
left.
convince
The
me why it was
receptionist
a
had
good
to
idea to leave
reschedule
her
me
stranded.
for.
By the way, in the car, while
gas
you see
station
that you're
2
going to be
hours
an hour
away
late,
from
do you
your
ever
home.
call them?
Well,
No,
after
I have a
that
Uber
whole
car
ordeal,
that
has
the appointment.
the Bluetooth type of
practitioner had already left.
I just
The
got the car and
receptionist
I had to
don't really know
reschedule
how
me
No, but you know,
for.
By the way, in the car,
12:45,
while
you know
you
it's
see that you're going to be an hour late, do you ever
So
call them?
if you have eyeballs,
No,
which I hope you do
have
if you're
an
driving,
Uber car
and you
that,
see the
that
clock,
has
which is now telling you it's
the Bluetooth
1:45,
type
at any
of a
point
thing,
did it
but
occur to you, let me
I
call
just
and make
got the
sure
car
there's
and
still
I
a
don't
point
really
in
know
going?
how.
No, but you know
Because
it's
I'm
not
already
12:45,
now
you know
half an
it's
hour late.
Right.
Or
Right.
15
So
minutes
if
late,
you
or 20
have
minutes late for a
which
doctor.
I hope you do if you're driving,
And they
and
can
you
be
see the
super
clock,
late for you,
which is
but
now
they
telling
don't
you it's
usually have a lot of
1:45. At any
patience.
point, did it
When
occur
you're
to
late
you,
for
let
them.
me call and make sure there's still a
Right?
point in
Well, I
going,
just kept
because I'm
pushing. I
already
just kept
now
trying to
half an
get us
hour
back
late.
on route.
Or
Okay.
15
So it
minutes
sounds
late
to
or
me
20
like
minutes
you
late
missed
for a
your
doctor.
appointment, and they can be super late for you, but they don't usually have a lot of patience. You didn't tell them you'd be late for them. Would it be okay, and then you could turn around and cut your losses.
I just kept pushing. I just kept trying to get us back on route.
And you chose, so it sounds to me just like you did, to pay attention to an app, because you missed which even though it led you astray, you didn't tell them you'd be late and would it be okay. You kept letting it turn around and cut your losses. Lead you astray. You didn't go the way you needed to go, and you chose, just like she did, to pay attention to an app, which even though it led you astray. I'm going to pin it 100% on her. All right, over and over. How would that justify you leaving her 2 hours away? I don't know that I would pin that 100% on her.
She decided for us to go have lunch, so we went to an Asian restaurant.
Let me pin it 100% on her.
We had the cashew chicken.
I'm going to pin it 100% on her.
I was so stressed out.
How would that justify you leaving her 2 hours away?
Well, I have she decided for us to go have lunch, so we went to an Asian restaurant after this this incident.
And we had the cashew
But that day I
chicken,
was feeling so sick and stressed
you know,
out.
I was so stressed
I said,
out.
let's just hit the road. I really want to get back home.
Okay, no, that's fine because you're entitled to be upset. You missed your appointment. It's your car. And so she gets in the car. She doesn't say no. I'm going shopping.
But that day I was
she gets in
feeling
the
so
car,
sick and stressed
and
out.
then it's all about the windows.
Let's just hit the road. I really want to get
Viewers
back home.
ask.
Okay, no,
And
that's
now,
fine because
Judge
you're entitled to be
Milian
upset.
has
You
the
missed your
answer.
appointment. It's your
What were
car.
the most
And so she gets in the car. She doesn't say
memorable
no.
or difficult
I'm going
pieces
shopping.
of
She gets in the
evidence
car,
that you saw
and then
during your
it's
career,
all about the
all these
windows.
years on the bench? And you've seen a lot of weird
Viewers
things, I
ask.
imagine.
And now,
The one that
Judge
pops into
Milian
mind when you
has the
say
answer.
that is
What were
there
the
was
most
a contract that was in
memorable or
handwriting,
difficult pieces
and there was
of
a dispute
evidence
about
that
what the
you
contract
saw during your career,
originally
all these
said,
years on the
and
bench?
I
You've seen a lot of
remember
weird things,
putting
I
it up to the
imagine.
light. The one that pops into mind when you say that is
through the
there
light
was
faintly that
a
it had been
contract that was in
doctored.
handwriting, and there was a dispute about what the contract kind of from my prosecutor
originally
days
said.
that I knew what to look for, but
putting it up to the light,
and that was a game changer in the case. So that one faintly
that it had been
what about
doctored.
You were able to convince the judge that it had been somebody messed up.
that was
I
kind
knew
of
how
from
to
my
do that because I was a
days.
prosecutor.
I knew
I
what to
was
look
the
for.
judge
but-
when I did
so
that. I was the judge,
and
and I
that was
said,
a game
"I'm
changer
trying to
in the
pull
case.
one
So that
over on the
one's
judge."
sticking
Right.
out.
How about you?
You were able to convince the judge that it had been something messed up.
I knew how to do that because I was a prosecutor. I was the judge when I did that. I was the judge, and I said,
in a criminal case where somehow a kilo of cocaine got caught or ripped open because they were cutting the plastic bag around the floor in courtrooms and stuff by mistake, just wrong. One time we're in federal courtroom, criminal case where cocaine somehow a kilo of cocaine got cut kind of ripped open because they were cutting the plastic bag around the kilo, and the guy cut it just wrong. Forget. We're in federal courtroom, and all of a sudden it's just the crime victims and things like that that you kind of wish you never saw, right? Coming up.
I felt very unsafe. I didn't know what else she was going to do.
You were at a red light, in fairness.
For all I know, she could have reached her leg over and accelerated the gas just to make me go faster.
And I can't get them out of my head.
You can't unsee.
Closed
crime
captioning
victims,
provided
things like
by
that.
Guilt has the designers that get your heart racing. Add Insider prices
Coming up.
every day.
I felt very unsafe. I didn't know what else she was going to do.
You were at a red light, in fairness.
For
Shopguilt.com
all I know,
today.
she could have reached her leg over
You're
and
watching
accelerated the
Justice
gas
for the
just to make
People.
me go faster.
At WGXA, we're
Closed
dedicated
captioning
to uncovering the
provided by
truth.
with
I don't
Judge
know. It was
Milian.
unsafe. It was super
We're
rude.
back
For
with the
all I
case
know,
of
she could
Glenda
have reached her
Lee,
leg
who
over
blames Lisa
and accelerated the
Martinez
gas
for
just to
leaving
make
her
me go
stranded.
faster.
Yes, and for all you know,
Hours
anyone
before.
when did you make your plan to leave her just as likely to do that? At that moment when she reached over?
I felt
You have
very
no evidence
unsafe.
of
I
that.
didn't know what else she was going to do.
That's why you left her stranded. I mean, it was rude. And I'm trying to understand what did you think would happen?
For all I know, she could have reached her leg over and accelerated the gas just to make me go
where
faster.
you're mad at each other and then never see her again. Anyone in your car then you complied with everything you needed to comply with. You got her home and then you just I never want to see that woman again. She's horrifying. You know, whatever you want, but I mean, leaving her stranded, did you think there'd be no consequence? And I'm trying to understand what did you think would happen? Because she had to get home. At some point, why couldn't you both just have 2 hours in the car where you're mad at each other and then never see her again? Then you complied with everything you needed to comply with. You got her home, and then you said, "I don't want to see that woman again. She's horrifying." I know what I'll do. Whatever you want, but I mean, leaving her stranded. Did you think there'd be no consequence?
Well, she had her purse with her phone. I didn't plan on leaving her there.
Right. Well, at some point you planned on leaving her there. She's going to have to pay $333.26 to get home.
After she got out of the car, went into the restroom,
and then you said, "Just stop. I know what I'll do. I'll leave her here with no way to get home." You are not hearing me.
Well, she had her purse
with her phone. If someone left you 2 hours away, would that be a simple solution? But she doesn't have a car, so she's going to have to pay. And you did it on purpose because you were mad at her. $26 to get home.
Coming up.
Well,
you're trying to persuade me that you actually put thought into it. That makes you even more evil. Stop. You actually put thought into it and said, "I know what I'll do now that she's in the bathroom. I'm going to take off." If someone left you 2 hours away, would that be a simple solution for you?
Provided by.
No, and you knew that.
It takes special dedication to care for our elderly, especially when
you're trying to persuade me that you actually put thought into it. That makes you even more evil. You actually put thought into it and said, "I know what I'll do now that she's in the bathroom. I'm going to take off."
Knowing that their loved ones have the best care possible.
Closed captioning provided.
You actually put thought into it and said, "I know what I'll do now that she's in the bathroom. I'm going to take off."
With the case of Glenda Lee, who blames Lisa Martinez
I was feeling
for
really
leaving her
unsafe
stranded
physically and
hours
emotionally.
from home.
She started talking about my
if you had made
husband,
a
how he
rash
was
decision
cheating on
without
me.
thinking it through.
She was being
You're
very
trying to persuade me that you actually put thought into it. That makes you even more evil.
I pulled over
You
to
actually
the
put
gas
thought
station.
into it and said, "I know what I'll do now that she's in the bathroom. I'm going to take off.
She said that he was having an affair.
Well, I was feeling really unsafe
she was being very hurtful with her words.
Did you say that?
She started talking about my husband, how he was cheating on me.
She
was being very hurtful.
Wait, stop 1 second. When did that come with you people?
It happened right before I pulled over
to
the gas station.
What did she say? Oh,
she said that he was having an affair.
That's not a slip any more than her leaving you at the gas station was a slip. Did you say that to her?
Understand, but I was also very upset because I was
that your windows didn't roll up.
What's
wrong with you people?
Not just the windows.
Why would you say to someone who's mad at you and you're fighting with? So I asked you the same question I asked her. Why can't you shut your mouth for 2 hours and just never see her again? Her leaving you at the gas station was a slip. So instead, what you do is you tell her your husband was cheating on you. Deceased husband was cheating on you. That's what you can roll up? Oops. First of all, what evidence do you have that her deceased husband was cheating on her?
Blaming everything on me.
So I asked you the same question I asked her. Why can't you shut your mouth for 2 hours and just never see her again? Just died by telling them that based on other gossip. So instead, what you do is you tell her your husband was cheating on you. Your deceased husband was cheating on you. That's what you did? Oops. First of all, what evidence do you have that her deceased husband was cheating on her?
Provided by
This was, the neighborhood.
Nothing but gossip.
Yeah.
So you heard a person whose husband just died by telling them that based on utter gossip.
It's tough to keep wondering.
That was a slip.
Judge Milian
is as good as it gets.
When justice for the people.
But Trilogy has shown me that there's still.
This is justice for the people. That she wouldn't listen to me. She ignores me the whole time.
You said exactly what did you say?
Well, we were
because
talking
honestly,
about,
you both are not nice to other people.
The neighborhood.
It's ridiculous.
It slipped my mouth.
How did you say it now? Say it now in this courtroom the way you said it in that car.
Okay, so I was just so frustrated that she wouldn't listen to me. She ignores me the whole time.
That you said exactly what did you say?
Well, we were talking about this.
That's nice.
The neighborhood, and then it slipped.
How did you say it? Because I just changed my mind, and she's not going to pay you for the whole taxi cab. She's going to pay you for half of it, because I think that part of the reason why you got ejected from that car is because you were smack talking. So frankly, it's both your faults, and I'm ordering her to pay you $166.63. Verdict for the plaintiff. Let me give you both a piece of advice. Go shop for friends. Because I just changed my mind, and she's not going to pay you for the whole taxi cab. She's going to pay you for half of it. Because I think that part of the reason why you got ejected from that car is because you were smack talking. So frankly, it's both your faults, and I'm ordering her to pay you $166.63. Verdict for the plaintiff. Let me give you both a piece of advice.
She needs to pay for
go shop for friends elsewhere.
Driver, and she left me stranded.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $166.63. Mac Keller claims he was shut out of Thanksgiving dinner at his sister-in-law's home after he arrived with all the food. Tasha Givens says she warned Mr. Keller not to show up after she found out he cheated on her sister.
All right, Mr. Keller, you are suing Miss Givens for $360, the price you paid for a Thanksgiving meal she refused to accept. What's your relationship with her?
She's my sister-in-law. I am married to her sister, Nikki.
Okay, and are you in the midst of a divorce with Nikki?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. Do you have children?
Yes, we have 2, 8 and 10.
Okay. Tell me about why you ended up being the one who was buying the Thanksgiving dinner.
So last year at Thanksgiving time, I didn't have a job, and I couldn't contribute during Thanksgiving. This year, I was fortunate enough to have 2 jobs this year, so I would happen to be able to afford the Thanksgiving.
Okay.
From there,
so you were going to get everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And from there, I ordered the food, and day before Thanksgiving, we are over at Tasha's house. Just the adults, no kids there. We're just drinking and having hors d'oeuvres. And
is that a tradition, the Wednesday before?
Yes, Your Honor, he's correct in that.
Okay.
We're over there, and I walk into the kitchen. Tasha's talking to my wife, Nikki, and I overhear Tasha talking about me, how I can't keep a job or I'm broke and all this good stuff. And mind you, she is belligerent drunk at this time. So I walk up to her, too.
Hold on 1 second. I'll be with you in a moment. Go ahead.
I had been drinking also, but I wasn't belligerent drunk. I can keep up with myself. So I walk up to her and say, hey, if you got anything to say to my wife, you can say to my face. And she did not like that. And as previous family events before, she went off on me, telling me I can't come to Thanksgiving tomorrow. You're not welcome in my house. You're broke. You need to treat my sister.
I'm kind of confused. At this moment in time, are you and her sister getting a divorce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're still living together, though.
You're still living together, but like not that way.
Correct. Yes,
right. Like you're just okay.
Yes.
And are the children living in the house with you?
They are.
Okay. But it's over.
Yes, it's completely over.
The Thanksgiving, just a moment. The Thanksgiving before, were you guys together?
Yes, we were.
All right. So she then tells you you're not welcome. And what do?
I wanted to go off on her, but seeing as this was an adult event and I was with her family, my wife's family, I wanted to treat her with some respect. I ignored it because this isn't the first time that she's cursed me out or told me you can't come to a family event when she's drunk. And even before then, the next day we'd be completely fine. So I'm taking this instance as why would I believe you this time? So I completely ignored, and
Your Honor,
the next day,
ma'am, let me explain something to you. I can hear both of you, just not at the same time. It'll be your turn in a moment. Go ahead.
The next day, Thanksgiving arrives. Obviously, my wife and my kids were all in the same car on the way to Tasha's house for Thanksgiving.
But hadn't your wife heard her sister say you can't come tomorrow?
She has before.
And did she call her and talk to her and say and smooth it over and figure things out?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did your wife, I guess, then also assume that Tasha didn't mean what she said?
Yes, because this isn't the first time.
All right. So you get to the house, and what happens?
We get to the house. My wife and kids get out of the car. They're ahead of me, obviously. I am back trying to get the food out of the car. Tasha comes out, greets her niece and nephew and my wife. They walk into the house. I'm walking up to the door with the food. Tasha stops me. She said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "This is Thanksgiving. I told you I was going to cater food and bring it here for Thanksgiving." She said, "You're not allowed in my house. I told you last night I didn't want you to come." And I was like, what makes...
You had to whip up Thanksgiving between the drunken night before and Thanksgiving dinner? Because you weren't counting on having to do Thanksgiving.
I had a backup plan because he never comes through. He never keeps a job. He never have no money. He's always broke.
Do you get along with your brother-in-law?
No, I do not. He's a liar. He lies a lot.
How long has he been in your life? How long was he with your sister?
Nearly 8 to 9 years.
All right. And what happened the night before?
Okay. So the night before, we were having drinks at hors d'oeuvres, just like he said, and my sister, she's always coming to me about issues he does and things he do. So she was telling me about his infidelities. He's been texting and sexting his coworkers.
But I thought they were divorced.
At that time, they were having troubles in their marriage.
Okay.
Okay, and it has to do with him being texting
Unfaithful.
his coworkers.
Okay.
And that night, she showed me a text that he had been sexting, and he had a bare shirt, no shirt on, smiling, and he had sent it to his coworkers, talking about how I look. And that's inappropriate when you're married.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
So when he says that he didn't believe you because this has happened,
never happened. He just merely...
Were you drunk that night on Wednesday?
No, I was not drunk. I had one drink.
And later...
Aren't you grateful that she ran after your daughter and saved a tragedy from happening?
Well, yes, of course I am,
but you also feel that was happening because she wasn't adequately supervised.
Exactly.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court with Judge Milian, we're back with the dispute between Mac Keller and his sister-in-law, Tasha Givens, over Thanksgiving dinner.
And by then, she'd had enough, I had enough, and I confronted him and told him why he's not invited.
What did you say?
I told him, I said, I don't want you coming to my house, you're broke, you don't never keep a job, and I'm tired of you treating my sister disrespectfully.
Okay.
And you're no longer welcome to come to my house for Thanksgiving, and don't worry about bringing no food.
He says that there have been other times when you've lashed out in anger and you didn't mean it. Did you ever tell him you're not welcome to an event and then welcome him, or is that not true?
It's a lot of things happened during the past. I'm always going off, probably because he has no job. He inherited a lump sum of money, and he gambled it off. He spends too much money on himself, not enough on the kids, not enough on his family. He doesn't have money to cover things like last Thanksgiving. He didn't have any money.
Okay, but my question was, I know what a terrible guy he is. You've made that clear. My question to you was, have there been times in the past where you've told him not to come to something that he wasn't welcome and then welcomed him anyway?
No, that is not correct.
Okay. Have there been times that you've said something in anger, I never want to see you again, and then seen him?
That is no, Your Honor.
So when he says that he didn't believe you because this has happened before, you're saying it's never happened before?
It's never happened. He just merely...
Were you drunk that night on Wednesday?
No, I was not drunk. I had one drink.
Unbelievable.
Oh, really?
Yes, just one drink.
That is zero.
That's no fun.
All
right,
yeah,
so did your sister take you seriously? Because your sister was in the car with him.
She did take me seriously.
If she took us seriously, why didn't your sister say, you can't come? She told you couldn't come. Don't come.
I have no idea why.
Did you ever talk to her and say, why'd you bring that man?
She was right there when I told him.
My point is, after he leaves, did you ever say to her, why'd you bring him? You know you couldn't bring him, and did you ever say something to her?
I did. When they arrived and I saw him with the turkey and skipping out with the food, I was like, I told you he wasn't invited. Why did you bring him? And she just went on in the house, and I just told him, look, I told you last night he wasn't invited.
Unreal.
So you turn him away, and the kids and the wife stay for Thanksgiving.
They stay for Thanksgiving.
Was it a nice Thanksgiving?
We had a nice Thanksgiving.
And you had a backup plan? Well, who has a turkey in their pocket? How did you have a backup plan?
Because he asked me a week. I had already ordered a turkey, and it was already coming. Because he had asked me at the end of October. By then, I've already got my turkey and all got my stuff that I'm planning on cooking. I told him okay, because he always ends up not pulling through. So I was like, okay, not thinking he would really have Thanksgiving dinner, because he never pulls through on anything. He never pulls through on his word. So I just assumed it was going to be another one of those events.
Was your sister mad at you for not letting him in?
No, she wasn't, because he's a cheater.
Why was she in the car with him to begin with then? Why didn't she tell him stay home? You heard her. I'm just curious.
I have no idea why she decided to do that.
Is your sister like you or no?
She's more meek-minded than me. I'm more of a strong person.
Why would Ms. Givens have to pay you $360 when she clearly told you the day before, don't come and you're not welcome?
She didn't make that very clear. If she had done this before, previous times, and I had been welcomed afterwards, she's lying when she says...
Listen, but when people say, don't come, you're not welcome, the default position is don't come, you're not welcome.
And this don't have anything to do with food in the past. This is the first time he's ever volunteered to bring food.
You thought she'd just get over it.
Yes.
And it didn't happen. How does that create a legal obligation on her part to reimburse you for the food?
Because, my distress from the situation, she's sending me home on Thanksgiving away from my family.
With a lot of food. Food for 8, all for you.
And all of it spoiled. I couldn't eat all of it, obviously. It's
well,
spoiled.
your kids and your soon-to-be ex-wife are coming home. They could have lots of
Thanksgiving leftovers from her place. Okay. They didn't eat all of the Thanksgiving that I had. Like I said, it's spoiled.
Right. But how does it... Ms. Givens is the... it's her home. She warns you the day before, don't come, you're not welcome.
Drunkenly.
Either way. And you decide to come because she couldn't possibly have meant it. Well, it turns out she meant it. How does that translate into her owing you $360? Why isn't this just one of those things? Where, I guess she did mean it, and you were wrong to assume she didn't.
I
don't think you needed to mansplain what she meant. I think she was pretty clear.
Drunkenly clear. We've all...
Right. She's hearing about your infidelity. She's mad. She loves her sister. She feels like her sister doesn't stand up for herself. And she tells you, you're this, you're that, you're a loser. Don't come tomorrow. You're not welcome. It couldn't be more clear. Like that you shouldn't have come, shouldn't have spent the money, shouldn't have brought it. But even if you did, even if it wasn't clear, let's just say that she found out 10 minutes before you showed up. 10 minutes before you showed up that you had cheated on her sister, and she said, you're not coming in my house. How does that translate into she must now reimburse you $360 for a meal that you were always going to pick up the tab for? And the answer is it doesn't. It doesn't. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
Even though I didn't win, I will never see you again. I'm
Likewise.
glad.
Coming up.
Did you quit or did he fire you?
No, he actually fired me when I
was... Right that moment?
No. I drove to the hospital myself, and then he fired me when I was at the hospital over text.
Closed captioning for people with Judge Milian. Samantha Carter claims she was injured on the job while saving the life of her employer's daughter. Brandon Locke says his former nanny is at fault for failing to keep an eye on his 3-year-old who ran into the street.
Okay, Ms. Carter, you are suing your former employer, Mr. Lux, for $897.15 in damages that you say were due to his negligence. Tell me what happened.
Well, I am suing him because I was injured saving his child's life on the job.
Okay. You were employed by him as a nanny?
Yes.
And your hours were what?
My hours were, he's a construction worker, so they were a little different than usual. My hours were 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. on weekdays, all 5 weekdays, and then noon to 4 p.m. on weekends.
How old are the kids?
The kids are 3 and 6. Little girl 3 and a boy 6.
So on this particular day when you get injured, tell me what happened.
So we usually play in the backyard, me and the kids, but he was doing work in the backyard, so he told us to play in the front yard. And while we're playing in the front yard, we're playing with some basketballs, soccer balls, all that stuff, and one of the balls flies into the street or rolls into the street, and the 3-year-old runs to the street to go grab it, and a car's coming, so I run after the 3-year-old and I dive and I, get her away from the car.
All right, so when you grab her, you end up tearing your ACL. Mm-hmm. And what happens? Do you call out for him? What happens?
He witnessed the whole thing, and
I thought you said he was in the backyard.
Well, the backyard is kind of like, I guess, more the side of the house.
Okay.
Maybe I should have said.
All right.
Coming up.
How do you know something has gone down?
Well, I heard a screech, I turn around and I kind of see, them on the ground, and I run out, to get them and see what's going on.
Closed captioning, Pudge Million. We're back with a case of Samantha Carter, who brought Brandon Lux to court after she was injured saving his child.
And then when do you did you quit or did he fire you?
No, he actually fired me when I was...
Right that moment?
No.
Okay.
I drove to the hospital myself, and then he fired me when I was at the hospital over text.
Let me hear from you, Mr. Lux.
Yes. I employed Sam here for a few weeks as a nanny for my 2 small children. As she said, I have kind of crazy hours. I work construction, so during the week stuff, the kids are already asleep and everything. But on the weekends, it's really to be hands-on nannying.
Right. Is there a mom in the picture?
No,
Okay.
There is none anymore. She actually took off about, my youngest was about 18 months old when she just said, I can't do this anymore.
So talk to me and tell me what happened on this day. Were you in the backyard, the side yard? Where were you?
Well, it's we were working in the backyard. The driveway leads into the backyard, so I was over there. We're building a garden and, plays for the kids.
Whose idea was it for her to play with the kids in the front yard?
It was mine.
And so you tell her to go to the front yard and play with the kids.
Yeah.
And then how do you know something has gone down?
Well, I heard a screech, I turn around and I kind of see, them on the ground, and I run out, to get them and see what's going on. And then I realize Sam is hurt, and so Sophie, my little girl, and so I pick her up, she's crying, Sam looks like she's having problems, so I take them both inside and start tending to my girl's knee, and, it was bleeding, and I'm dealing with all of that, and I got her a little bit more calm, and then Sam was like, I'm not feeling very well. I was like, okay, well, you can go, and I helped her to her car because it looked like she needs some help getting to her car, and then she left, and I went back to making sure the kids were all right.
Aren't you grateful that she ran after your daughter and saved a tragedy from happening?
Well, yes, of course I am.
But you also feel that was happening because she wasn't adequately supervised.
Exactly.
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotion Justice for the People with Judge Million.
In order to win a lawsuit, you have to prove that side did something wrong. Like, it was a dangerous terrain. He tripped you. you know, he's the one who threw the ball and the kid went after, something that he did that has some complicity in the situation that caused it, that's a proximate cause.
Yeah.
I would be so happy my daughter wasn't a pancake that I would pay for your damages. But that's not the standard in court. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
Sam, just hopefully you learn from this that, you know, you got to take better care and watch what you're doing and, you know, hopefully you grow up a little bit.
I think I would just say that maybe this is why he doesn't have a wife.
Martin Levy claims his girlfriend asked him for money for a prenatal exam, but then used the cash to end an unplanned pregnancy. Randy Taylor says she's a college student who wasn't ready to start a family with her ex.
All right, Mr. Levy, you are suing Ms. Taylor for $950 that you want returned to you because she used it to terminate a pregnancy.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, how long did you folks date?
We were dating for 3 years, Your Honor.
All right, and how did you find out that she was pregnant?
She told me in person. She called me first, and then we had a conversation at my apartment later.
Okay, and were you happy about the news?
I was very happy about the news, yes.
Was she happy about the news?
She seemed happy at first, but she's always kind of been unsure about what she wants, both in school and with our relationship and in life. But she seemed excited about the opportunity to start a family at the time.
Your Honor, I am in the middle of college. I told him multiple times I was not ready for a family, and he is making it seem like I did this out of the blue, but this was not something that was completely out of the blue.
Hold on one second. How old are you?
I'm 21.
How old are you?
I am 26.
Okay. This wasn't planned, obviously.
No.
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
All right, so were you two living together?
No, not at the time.
All right. Did he give you money?
Yeah, I mean, throughout our relationship, he would give me some cash. He knew when my car was broken down and he helped pay for the repairs. And then the day of the abortion, I told him that I wanted to get a checkup with my doctor. And that's also the same time that I ended up finding out about endometriosis that was dormant in my system, and was told that pregnancy could trigger that. And that's a big part of why I decided to go ahead and terminate our child.
Okay. Your Honor,
can I just ask you, we'll talk about the legalities of it in a second, but was this a good relationship?
Well, it was good for the most part, but after maybe 2 years or so, we were having some conflicts. There was some jealousy. I had a good guy friend, and there were a few things that were already causing me to question our relationship. And I think really one of the moments that opened my eyes was having this pregnancy and then just realizing that I wasn't ready to have a kid or start a family with him. And
well, also you're 21. I mean,
yeah,
you are a kid.
Yeah, I'm a junior in college. I can't afford.
So, I mean, I'm trying to envision being in your shoes. And if I cared about somebody, I suppose I would have told them what my plan was. You don't owe him a legal duty to do it. I'm just wondering, the relationship couldn't have been that good if it didn't even occur to you to talk to him, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at first, when I got the news, I wanted to still try to give it a shot. I didn't decide right away that I was going to terminate, but once I found out
tell me about the 950. How did that 950 go from there to there? What were the circumstances?
Well, I had spoken with my mom, who had also had endometriosis and various health-related conditions with her pregnancy, like high blood pressure. And by her advice, I decided to schedule a doctor appointment.
I mean, no matter what, you should schedule a doctor appointment. There's a human in you.
Yeah. And because I knew...
But my question is, how did you get the $950? I want to understand...
Your Honor.
I'm not talking to you yet. The circumstances of how that money came from there to there.
So I knew that I might have the possibility of an abortion, so I figured out the cost would be at the max $950. And so I had told him when I was getting my wellness check that it would be most likely $950 or potentially $950.
But in your mind, you knew that you were going to have an abortion.
Well, at the time, I didn't know.
Well, that's the thing you quoted. That was the price you got as opposed to a wellness check price. That's what you just said?
So the actual abortion was $600. I didn't think that I would definitely be spending that. I just wanted to be prepared just in case, because I don't have the extra $600.
You knew going into it that's how much it would cost, and you still took my money for it.
Don't talk to her directly, but talk to me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I know there's things that, often happen in relationships, but the man doesn't have to pay for the woman's abortion. That's not how it works. So he's saying you got him to pay for the abortion by lying to him and telling him it was a wellness check.
And later,
our entire relationship, I've always been more than happy to help her financially. That was never an issue, but she knew going into this situation that I would not be open to paying for an abortion, and she knew about the price of the abortion
Just a second, don't interrupt him. I didn't let him interrupt you. I don't want you to interrupt him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. Closed Con. We're back with a case of Martin Levy, who brought his ex-girlfriend Randy Taylor to court after she lied about why she needed money.
So when she asks you for the money, and what does she say?
She asked me for the money to go get a wellness check, which I had already been supplying her funds for medical bills, for school bills, to fix her car. Throughout our entire relationship, I'd always been more than happy to help her financially. That was never an issue, but she knew going into this situation that I would not be open to paying for an abortion, and she knew about the price of the abortion
Just a second, don't interrupt him. I didn't let him interrupt you. I don't want you to interrupt him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
She knew going into this wellness check that she wanted an abortion. She had already talked to her mother about it. She knew about the health conditions that she also didn't tell me about going into this wellness check. At no point was she upfront with me about why she was going, and she asked me to not go with her, but she still took my money and did something that she knew I wouldn't.
She terminated the pregnancy.
Yes, Your Honor.
You wanted to have a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have become painfully aware that it's her body and her choice.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. So I'm sorry for what I know you're grieving for. Obviously, you are a young man and there is so much ahead for you. It is absolutely her choice. She doesn't need your permission or your input. But what we have here is a different issue than whether or not you can proceed with making decisions on your own body on your own. What we have is his lawsuit isn't about that, maybe about that in his heart, because just like you don't need his permission, he also doesn't have to pay for your abortion. I know there's things that often happen in relationships, but the man doesn't have to pay for the woman's abortion. That's not how it works. So he's saying you got him to pay for the abortion by lying to him and telling him it was a wellness check when you had actually researched it beforehand and figured out how much it cost, and then had him fork over the money because you didn't want to pay for your own abortion.
Well, Your Honor, I did only go in with the intention of getting the wellness check. I was not decided on that.
That's not what you told me a minute ago. That's what I thought too when I read your complaint, answer to the complaint. But a second ago, you told me, I called and found out how much an abortion cost, and then I asked him for more than that, and then I don't know.
Yeah, well, the news about the endometriosis is really what put it over the edge.
Well, the irony is that you have not been diagnosed with endometriosis.
Well, I was told that I most likely have a dormant version that my mom had also.
In your family, okay. The irony is that there's a lot of sources, because I've read up on this, that say that pregnancy cures endometriosis. And the greater irony is that there's no reason we have to talk about this, because you don't need a reason. It's your body. It's your body. You can decide what you're going to do. You don't need a reason. It's not, did you do the right thing? Are you alive? It's not anything about that. It's not, did you trick him? Did you lie to? It doesn't matter. It's your body, honey. You can do what you need to do. It's your body. Now, having said that, if you tell a guy, I need $1,000 for X, and then you do Y, that part's not okay. That's the contracts part.
Your Honor, I had told him multiple times that I was not ready to start a family.
No, I have no problem with that. And so if you tell him, I'm going to have an abortion, I want you to fork up $1,000, what would he have said?
Well, I
think you know what he would have said.
I mean,
You know what he would have said.
I do think that he might not have been for it, but I thought maybe once he found out about the health aspect that
Well, then why didn't you pick up a phone and talk to him?
Well,
if that's the case.
I mean, this was all a very tough decision. I made it the day of.
If you went in for a wellness check, how was somebody around to do an abortion like that? Like just like, oh, well, yeah, you know, like, in other words, I think you went in to get an abortion, which is, you're right. But I think that you got the money under circumstances that were untruthful. And if it's his money, and and I don't think you thought he would pay for it if you told him what you went in there for. Because you can't tell him, I want money for X and then use it for Y. The understanding is you're going to use it for X. Otherwise, you need to pay for your own money, right?
Well, the problem is I'm working right now. I am a college student, and again, like you were saying, it's my body. I didn't think
it is. You have an absolute right to do what you want with your body, just not with his money. With his money, you have to follow the rules and the laws. You see?
Yeah,
so no one's suggesting that you couldn't do what you did. You absolutely could do what you did without consulting him or checking with him, getting his permission, or even telling him about it. That's fine, except that's not what this case is about. What this case is about is a contracts case. It's you asking him for money to do one thing, but doing another with that money. I'm sorry. It's something that he doesn't have to pay for. He doesn't get a say in it, but he doesn't have to pay for it. My verdict is for the plaintiff in the amount of the $950.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $950.
I'm very happy that I got my money at the end of the day. I think what she did was wrong.
I feel like he was doing this whole lawsuit just out of being vindictive. I think he was just upset because of the breakup.
Coming up.
I didn't see the first one, but half the company has it on their cell phone.
Right.
So by the time she came up and started singing to me, everyone was just laughing at me, and it was horrible.
Seriously?
Yes.
Why can't you just let her sing the singing telegram and say thank you to your girlfriend? Why can't you just do that?
It wasn't about...
Yeah, it was. It was.
Closed on. Brana Jones claims she tried to surprise her boyfriend with a singing telegram, but the singer sang to the wrong man. Madeline Gaines says she tried to fix her mistake, but was rudely told to leave.
Ms. Jones, you are suing Ms. Gaines for $250 that you want returned to you because, according to you, she breached the contract. You hired her to do what?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. I hired her to be a singing telegram to help me celebrate my boyfriend's birthday.
Okay, and how did you find out about her services?
So my boyfriend and I have been together about 3 years now. So when we first started dating, he told me that his family never really celebrated his birthday, and I thought that's horrible. So I've always taken
outing the family. Okay. I hope they like you. Go ahead.
Well, I always thought it would be really special for us to do something, to make his birthday like a bigger deal. And this year, he let me know that we weren't going to be able to spend it together because he had to work late on his birthday. So I was really upset, and I went on the internet, I did a little bit of research, and that is what led me to Ms. Gaines' website. I found out that she did singing telegrams, original songs. She would spend a little bit of time with the client, see, what my boyfriend would be like, and then write a song for him. And I thought, that's perfect. Owen would love that.
Okay, but she doesn't meet with him beforehand, right? Because it's supposed to be a surprise.
No.
So she talks to you, and then you end up writing the lyrics to a song. Do you write the music too, or you...
Correct, yes. I arrange and write 3-minute songs. Originals, so everything is mine, and I work with my client beforehand to just kind of get to know them, know the person, the event, their interests, and I personalize it. I make sure I get her approval always.
Are you ready to sing something to me? Just kidding.
Hey,
if I gave you a few minutes, you would. Okay. All right. So, what happens in this case that you feel you're entitled to get the $250 back?
So, before she arrived at my boyfriend's workplace, I told her a little bit about Owen, what floor he was on, and what time she needed to be there. She arrived at his workplace and did not sing to my boyfriend. She sang to another person named Owen Williams.
Another person named Owen Williams?
Correct.
Coming up.
I went to the receptionist and I asked for Owen Williams. And
the receptionist did not say Which one?
No.
The receptionist said,
no,
right over there.
Closed captioning provided by... We're back with a dispute between Bronagh Jones and Madeline Gaines over the failed delivery of a singing telegram.
So what happened?
So I show up 12:30 p.m., just like we had planned, to Owen Williams' office. And just to make sure, I went to the receptionist and I asked for Owen Williams. And
the receptionist did not say, which one?
No.
The receptionist said,
no,
right over there.
Yeah.
So then what did you do?
I find Owen Williams and I sing him happy birthday.
Okay.
And he lets me perform the entire 3-minute song. There's maybe like 25, 30 people that gather around.
And somebody taped it, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Do we have the tape? Because I'd love to see it.
I do, Your Honor. I actually gave it to the bailiff before.
Okay. Can we get that up there?
Oh, you my soulmate, God's sake, and please don't prove me wrong. Don't you really like this song? Happy birthday, Owen Williams.
It's not my birthday.
Did he say there's another Owen Williams?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you try to go sing to the correct Owen Williams?
I found Owen
step
Williams.
on up. It's your time to shine, honey.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. So and did you go over there and try to sing to that Owen Williams?
I made sure I was directed to the right Owen Williams. I needed to get that song.
And then did you do your song?
I started singing it. I did start, and he told me to stop about 30 seconds in.
All right, let me hear from you. So when do you first hear that there's a singing telegram coming your way?
So everyone knew, and I didn't see the first one, but by the time she came up and started singing to me, everyone was just laughing at me, and it was horrible.
Seriously?
Yes.
Why can't you just let her sing the singing telegram and say thank you to your girlfriend? Why can't you just do that?
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotional consideration Million.
Instead of going to court and creating a lawsuit, Ms. Jones, over something that was an honest mistake, oh, nay, I can't. You know, it's too embarrassing because it already happened downstairs. So what?
She humiliated him, Your Honor.
Really? Well, I suggest you guys get a spine somewhere at the spine store because that's just silly.
He's not even the original Office Owen anymore.
Owen was a temp.
You're Owen too? And you can't take that?
It's not
good. You need some real adversity in your life. Honestly, I don't know why you're looking at it. You need some real adversity in your life too. This is nonsense, okay? It's an honest mistake on her part. And then she tried to make it good. It's not like she said, well, tough, I sang once, so I'm leaving. She didn't do that. She went to look for your boyfriend, and then what? He can't handle a second song? Nonsense. Verdict for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Million has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I think it's going to take a lot more than $250 to fix this guy's ego.
I just don't feel like we got what we wanted, but I'm glad we got a chance to say what we need.
James Plott claims he needed surgery for a ruptured eardrum after he attended an extremely loud punk rock show. Elliot LeClaire says his band manager passed out earplugs, so he's not responsible for Mr. Plott's injury.
All right, Mr. Plott, you are suing Mr. LeClaire for $955 in medical bills because, according to you, his music tore your eardrums.
Correct.
All right, tell me where you were and what happened.
It was like a venue. It was called The Basement. My friends were performing. They're like an indie group called The Walkers, and they invited me out. I don't really go to concerts. I'm not huge like a music guy, and especially not rock. But they invited me out, and he was performing before my friends were performing, so I was there. And the moment he started performing, it was like maybe like 10, 15 seconds. It was all right. But then it just started blasting music. Everything went crashing down.
What do you mean everything went crashing down?
Well, they were going crazy with their guitars and their music. Like the people started jumping. So it was just a lot for me. And I hear a pop in my right ear. And I was like, what is going on? I started hearing a ringing. It was stinging. I felt pain. And so I went back doors because I was like, I need to figure out what's going on with my ear.
Okay, and what was going on with your ear?
Basically, I felt like it was kind of like wet. It was like a liquid, and I looked at my finger, and it was blood. So actually, my ear popped open. It busted open my eardrum. I started leaking a little bit of blood. It wasn't too much, but it was enough to be like worried about it.
Could you hear?
I could still hear, but it was very like, this ear was very affected a lot. It was like a big, huge ringing sound, if you've ever had that before. It was horrible.
All right, and how loud was the music?
The music was so loud. I mean, it was like, I have actually footage, I have a screenshot from my smartwatch where it shows...
Can I see it?
Yeah, if you might present.
Which shows what?
It shows that the music was at 145 decibels, which equals up to the sound of fireworks or even standing next to a fighter jet departing.
My Apple Watch, when I get together with my friends, often sends me a message that it's dangerous to stay in this noisy environment because we all talk really loud. So what do? Do you go to the hospital? Or do you go to the doctor?
Yeah, I went to urgent care the next day because obviously I couldn't go the same day. It was late and I still stayed with my friends. I just bared with the pain. I went to urgent care. My doctor told me that I have a tear in my eardrum and that's what caused the bleeding and the pain. He told me to wait a couple of days or up to a week to see it should heal by itself. It did not heal by itself. I was dizzy every day. I could not sleep. I was in pain. I was tired. I went back after a week and he told me I needed surgery.
And so explain the surgery.
Basically, the surgery was that they had to go deep inside there and put certain medication into my ear and some things that I don't know about a lot. I was just on anesthesia, but that cost me a lot of money.
It was outpatient, right?
It was, yeah. And I thankfully have insurance, but insurance didn't cover most of it.
So all you're suing for is that you're out of pocket?
Correct, my out-of-pocket money.
All right, and so do you ever communicate with him or try to...
Yes, I did text him. I reached out to the venue to get his number, anyone from the band, specifically him. And they gave me his number, and he basically just shut me off and told me to back off, I guess. You know?
Okay, let me hear from you, Mr. LeClaire. What kind of music do you guys play?
We're a punk rock band, Your Honor. Like, unfortunately, like, this guy decided to make me waste my time coming here. I'd rather be somewhere else than in the courtroom.
Most people feel that way.
Yeah. So, go figure. He's in a rock concert. And second, we're called the Raging Wailers.
You're called the Raging Wailers?
The Raging Wailers. So, you don't need to be brain dead to understand that Raging Wailers sounds like they're going to be loud. And we're not a mom rock band. We play rock.
As a mom, I resent that implication. But here's the thing. The music starts, and then tell me what happens at one point. Like after a few seconds of the music, then what happens?
Well, the show went on like normally. Like we always play.
Is there he describes it as you guys banging on your instruments like on purpose for shock value. Is that accurate?
Like, we're meant to be loud and like we're a rock band, you know, like want to move some air.
Right, but not all rock bands shatter eardrums.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
Now, your response to his suggestion that there should have been some kind of warning is what?
Well, I'm not just going to grab the microphone and be like, sorry to disturb you. We're going to be kind of loud tonight.
And later.
So, I'm being blamed for the hole, but I really believe that cockroach came out of that hole. That hole was already there.
You have to...
With Judge Millian. We're back with the case of James Plott, who blames musician Elliot LeClaire for a busted eardrum.
According to both of you, there was someone handing out earplugs. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. Well, since this venue didn't have a soundman that day for the event, we had to come in earlier that day to do the sound check. And after the sound check, like all the other bands, like agreed that it was all fine. Nobody complained. So, and when it was time to play, well, my girlfriend, which happened to be my band manager, went out in the audience passing out earplugs because we're that nice.
Okay, why? But right. So why does your girlfriend pass out earplugs?
Because we're nice.
No, but everybody came for a rock concert, and not a mom rock concert, a real one, so they want to hear you. So why are you passing out earplugs?
Because we just figured that it would be nice. Like we offered the opportunity
because
to wear
you know that you're going to be playing it at really dangerous...
Dangerous? I mean, I don't have any device to record the sound level, but ordinarily, like... we
Do you guys on stage wear earplugs?
I personally never wear earplugs.
Okay.
But this guy, I think, happened just to be an accident. Who knows? Like, it could have happened like to him, like before the concert or something.
But it didn't. His testimony is it happened at the concert, and he immediately leaves and goes to a doctor the next day. So the question is, you know, is that, hey, too bad for you because it's a rock concert, like you're saying? Or the question is, does California law require you to have some kind of warning? Now, your response to his suggestion that there should have been some kind of warning is what?
Yeah, but we're a punk rock band. I'm not just going to grab the microphone and be like, sorry, everyone, but sorry to disturb you. We're going to be kind of loud tonight.
Right. No, you feel like that ruins the vibe.
I don't want to break that character. That's not who we are on stage.
Okay.
We project this personality.
Right. Los Angeles County Code requires that if you're operating or playing or permitting the operation or playing of any noise, radio, television, musical instrument, etc., sound amplifier, at a level higher than 95, okay, you can't do that unless there is a conspicuous and legible sign located outside that says warning, sound levels may cause hearing impairment. It's like the cigarettes, you know, you have to have a warning. All of a sudden, the law decides you have to have a warning. So Los Angeles has decided you have to have a warning. You think it's lame to warn verbally. Well, they don't even want you to warn verbally. Do you think it's lame to have warning sound levels may cause hearing impairment? Because I think that some punk rockers might find that actually really appealing. I mean, or is that just my mom taste? Like, in other words, it sounds like the law makes you have a disclaimer before you start playing it.
I mean, I feel bad for his injury, but I don't want to be held responsible for his medical bill. Because, I mean, like, I don't have like an instrument on my amplifier that tells me how many decibels that come out of my amplifier.
No, but apparently the law requires you to know. And when you hit the 95 mark, the law requires you to have warned. So it's kind of, I think you know. I do think you know how loud it is. I think that's part of the shtick. Right?
Yeah, but
that's part of the shtick, because you've got a band manager walking around handing people, you know, earplugs. So it's obvious that it's part of your shtick to play it at dangerously high volumes, or you wouldn't be handing out earplugs.
But I'm not a sound engineer, and I'm not a doctor.
Stop a second. Stop and listen to me. The question is, do you have any legal responsibility for it? And I hear exactly what you're saying. You're at a rock concert. If it doesn't work for you, walk outside or take the earplugs. I hear what you're saying. However, you happen to be in Los Angeles, where there happens to be a law about it. Yeah, and what the law says is that you can't do what you do without a warning. You don't like the idea of warning, oh, everybody, don't do it that way. I think it would be pretty... The word I want to use, I can't use on television. But if you're trying to have this aura of totally, you know, crazy punk rock, hardcore, maybe you should have a little sign with a warning that comes in front. Maybe that's how you can protect yourself.
I don't think so. I think the venue should be held responsible, because if they didn't have their soundman ready to work, I mean, like, they should have postponed the concert.
Except for you knew there was no sound man.
Yeah, because like we're on point, like we're a serious band, and we want to perform. And
yes, but you knew there was no sound engineer there who was going to turn you down if you were too high.
Like, I'm not the one.
No. It's not a matter of whether it's your fault. I'm saying that was not a surprise. You knew that you were performing at a place with no sound engineer. Well, one would, if you're looking at me and saying, that's the job of the sound engineer. Well, if you agree to perform in a place with no sound engineer, then you know that that's your job now and not the sound engineers. I'm finding you responsible, and I'm going to order you to pay the $955.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $955.
I have a great victory, and karma always finds its way.
Oh, I mean, I don't care, like, losing or winning. Like, for me, I have a new tour coming up. It's gonna be called Busted Eardrum Tour.
Okay.
Coming up.
I grabbed the shoe and I killed it. Smashed it right into the wall.
With what part of the shoe?
With the heel of the shoe.
Okay.
Closed Judge Milian. Taylor Knox claims she was falsely accused of damaging a wall at a bed and breakfast after she hit a bug with her shoe. Kathy Walker says she kept the plaintiff's deposit because the room was fine before Miss Knox stayed there.
Taylor, bed and breakfast. Talk to me.
Your Honor, I was in town for a book publishing convention. I went online, found her bed and breakfast, had great reviews, so I booked it. There was a $500 deposit required. So what happened was, the first day, after I opened the window, I saw a couple of bugs. Second day, saw a trail of ants in the bathroom. Thought nothing of it. These are just...
Did you mention it to her?
I didn't.
Okay. So none of this was really bothering you? This
didn't really bother me.
Yeah, okay.
Until Monday morning, I was preparing to leave and saw a cockroach on the wall. That was the thing that pushed me over the edge, that bothered me, and I grabbed the shoe and I killed it. Smashed it right into the wall.
With what part of the shoe?
With the heel of the shoe.
Okay. When you hit the wall, you hit it with the heel. Did you make the hole that ended up in the wall?
So I'm being blamed for the hole, but I really believe that cockroach came out of that hole. That hole was already there.
What evidence do you have to say that? Like, you never noticed a big hole in the wall before that.
Yeah.
And how big was the hole, by the way? Let me ask you, how big was the hole? Was the hole there before she checked in?
Your Honor, I had no reports of there being any holes in the wall.
Okay, do you actually, how many rooms do you have in your bed and breakfast?
Coming up.
They had to use a 4x8 section of drywall to replace.
Did you ever see them do the job?
No, I didn't.
Right. I got news for you. You need to get another contractor.
People with Judge Millian. We're back with a dispute between Taylor Knox and B&B owner Kathy Walker over who is to blame for a hole in the wall.
We have 3.
And do you ever go in there? Are you the one who...
Yes.
Okay, so had you ever noticed a hole there before?
I never noticed a hole until after she left.
Okay, and now let's assume the hole is this big, like she says. Don't you think you would have noticed that? Especially with bugs coming in, like you say?
Yeah, it was behind the lampshade. I didn't even notice the hole.
So you really have no idea if the hole was there. You're certainly not testifying that the hole was there.
Correct.
You just think there was a hole in the spot where you hit with your heel. Because you know the hole was there after you hit it with your heel.
Right.
You know the hole was there once you hit the wall and panicked and hit the wall with the heel and not the front of the... I will take a slipper and I will bash the roach.
Right.
And I will not apologize to anyone who thinks I should have saved the roach and brought it outside. No, you saved the roach. And if you're not on speed dial on my phone, you can't be there in 2 seconds. I'm doing what I got to do. So my question to you is, how much did you pay to get that fixed? Because my understanding from your answer to the complaint is that you paid $500.
Your Honor, you know, I'm not in the construction business, so I have people that are professional that come out to repair stuff. And they had to use a 4x8 section of drywall to replace.
Did you ever see them do the job?
No, I didn't.
Right. I got news for you. You need to get another contractor. That is spackled to close. It's this big. It does not require replacing a piece of drywall. Because my obligation here is not to make her pay you what someone charged you. It's to make her pay you the reasonable cost of a repair for the damage she did. That hole was created based on the part of her shoe that she decided to whack the wall with. And no, I don't think that that's on you. I think that's on the whacker. They should try not to break a wall over a cockroach.
Judge Millian's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotional consideration, Judge Millian.
Literally, it would have taken me 1 second to do it. Because you take the little jar of spackling, you cover it, and according to her, it's behind a lamp. It's not like you couldn't rent the room out. I think they took advantage of you because you were desperate and you really wanted to, and I think that they kind of took advantage of you. And my job is to figure out what the repair should have cost, not what it cost you. But my very strong advice to you, this is a handyman, you don't need a license for this kind of work, but maybe you are hiring a contractor, and then that person's pocketing $400 and paying somebody $100 to spackle. Because that's probably what happened. I am ruling in your favor as far as a security deposit is concerned, that you are able to keep some of it, but not the amount that you say. I'm going to assume this could be handled for about $150 is what I'm going to rule, and that means that I'm going to need you to return $350 of her security deposit back. Verdict, net judgment for you. Verdict for the plaintiff.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $350.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã quay lại với kênh của cô Huyền. Hôm nay thì cô Huyền sẽ hướng dẫn tất cả các bạn thực hiện tập tô một đồ dùng nữa rất là quen thuộc của chúng mình. Hôm trước chúng mình được tập tô gì nhỉ? Một chiếc áo này, một chiếc váy này, một chiếc yếm này, một chiếc cặp sách, một chiếc đôi ủng, đôi giày, đúng không nào? Tất cả những đồ vật rất là quen thuộc của chúng ta. Hôm nay thì mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn tô một chiếc áo phông nhé. Sẽ có rất là nhiều màu sắc để chúng ta có thể thực hiện tô cho chiếc áo phông này. Tuy nhiên rằng mà chúng ta sẽ thử cái độ sắc nét, độ đẹp của màu đen được không nhỉ? Chúng ta sẽ tô cái áo màu đen, ở dưới chúng ta sẽ vẽ thêm một cái hình trái tim nhé, hình trái tim màu đỏ nhé, cho áo này đỡ đơn điệu, đúng không nào? Đây là một hình trái tim màu đỏ nữa. Còn chúng ta sẽ tô cái áo này màu đen nhé. Cũng rất là đẹp đúng không nào? Trái tim mình tô màu đỏ nhé. Các bạn ơi, mình đã tô xong một chiếc áo phông rồi. Thời lượng của kênh cũng hết mất rồi. Tạm biệt các bạn và hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong những video lần sau nhé.